because no one's thought the stonks, Denny, as they're known on the internet, are through the absolute roof for Florida quarterback Anthony Richardson. He blew up the combine like few people ever really do. Just like totally just blew the doors off the building with the athletic testing. I mean, 40 and a half inch vertical, broad jumping out of the building, just a total physical freak, the kind of like size and athletic combo that you just rarely see. But Denny, there are question marks.
There remains some question marks. Yeah, I mean,
if you Google Anthony Richardson sports reference and pull up his stats, you'd be like, this is the guy.
Yeah, right.
They're talking about.
You might start to have some question marks bubble up over the top of your head like a cartoon character. And you're right. He did blow the doors off. They literally had to get new doors for the.
They did. I mean, it's actually Jim Irsay. It's really sad. He's suing the young man.
Right. Simply for jumping through the roof.
Yeah, for damaging Lucas Oil Field is very, very damaged. And I mean, I'm not saying Anthony Richardson hasn't been paid yet. He could offer to pay for some of it, though.
We're going to monitor that here at NBC Sports Edge. Here, let's start with the good stuff. All right. Anthony Richardson, 99th percentile 40-yard dash, 99th percentile burst score.
Wow.
His 40.5-inch vertical jump was the highest ever recorded for a quarterback at the NFL Combine. That is really, really something. So,
Denny, it sounds like he could jump over a tennis net.
I'm putting my money on him being able to jump over a tennis net. I even think he could jump higher than you.
I think he could probably jump over 2 tennis nets stacked on top of each other. Yeah.
I read an ESPN profile of Anthony Richardson, really, really good piece this morning, and they had an anecdote in the piece where just an attendee, just someone at the combine, saw Richardson outside of the stadium and said, "Hey, are you testing today?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "What position are you?" And Richardson said, "What position do you think I am?" He goes, "I don't know." He goes, "Nose tackle, linebacker." Richardson said, "No." He said, "I get that a lot. I'm a quarterback." And the onlooker said, "Wow." So,
gosh, that's some great color to a piece.
Yeah, I really recommend that. So but the passing is an issue, and I think everybody knows that. Okay, his passing numbers. I have some stats here from 2022 in his the final season at Florida.
Denny, are they advanced stats? Can I just give you the non-advanced stats really quick on
right. Mine are on the advanced side. Go ahead.
His entire career, he wasn't the starter till last year. Parts of 3 seasons, he threw for 24 touchdowns and had 15 picks. Like that's his career TD to INT total. In the completion percentage, never even approaching 60. Which we know all these stats they're not why you draft a player, but like just in terms of like the dinosaur stats where you pull up a guy's you Google Anthony Richardson ESPN and pull up his college stats. You're like, oh wow,
yeah.
Okay, so to lay on us the advanced stats, which I'm sure paint an even more interesting picture.
It is a little bit varied, but raises some concerns. So the Gators last season were 70th in passing EPA. Which is near the bottom. So among all quarterbacks drafted, and by the way, this is these stats are courtesy of our colleague Zach Kruger, who can be found on Twitter at ZK_FFB. Zach Kruger, of course, a leading college football thought leader, who I read all of his stuff during the season. And he provided us with some really good stats that provide some context for Anthony Richardson heading into this draft. So among all quarterbacks drafted since 2016 who have played at least one game in the NFL, and this includes quarterbacks who are likely to be drafted in 2023, Richardson has the lowest completion rate on throws ranging between behind the line of scrimmage and the intermediate part of the field. Okay, like at the very bottom is the completion rate on those throws. He also has the lowest completion rate in throws from the line of scrimmage to the short area of the field of anyone in that category. Remember this?
Is that anyone drafted since 2016? You're saying
who has played at least one game in the NFL? Now, so his short area accuracy was atrocious. Okay, really, really bad. If you look at the guys around him in this database. You have Trey Lance, you have Trace McSorley, CJ Beathard, you have Chad Kelly. We all remember Chad Kelly.
Yeah, Chad Kelly. Is he in the USFL? Maybe he's in both the USFL and the XFL.
He has played some spring ball, yeah. So that those are concerning. Now there is it's not all doom and gloom with Richardson's passing stats. He was 49th out of 145 quarterbacks on pass attempts of more than 20 yards downfield. So they're considered deep balls. So that's not bad. Okay, that's you're in the top 1/3 of quarterbacks in deep ball. He has a very strong arm. I do think that those struggles at the line of scrimmage and in the intermediate areas probably will raise enough concerns where he could slip a little bit despite his destroying of the combine.
He has almost Cam Newtonian like size. And but he never had quite Cam Newton running stat. He was pretty solid rushing stats. He had 9 touchdowns last year. But yeah, he's never really just a very, very interesting, incomplete and a guy who really only started for 1 year. So you're telling yourself, you're painting like an upside picture. The guy is only 21 years old. Like you're taking like the ultimate upside gamble, and you probably have to be committed to letting him sit for a year, I feel like.
I mean, and that's the thing. The landing spot will be interesting, obviously, and what the team plans to do with Richardson. So the Seahawks reportedly had a very good interview with Richardson, and could be among the favorites to land him. They had the 5th pick in the first round of the draft. The Athletics' Joe Person, who covers the Panthers, said Carolina. He said, "My sense is the Panthers, like a lot of other teams, like Richardson's raw talent, but not enough to draft him." So maybe count out the Panthers, maybe count in the Seahawks, but whoever drafts him and if they plan on playing him this season, is going to have to drastically alter their offense the way the Ravens did when Lamar Jackson took over for Joe Flacco. I believe near the end of the 2018 season, they installed a new offense. And so, if Richardson, whoever Richardson plays for, if he starts, that has a massive impact on his pass catchers. If he's in Seattle, say, you can't just say, oh, okay, well, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett will get by. There will be major concerns there.
Totally anecdotal, though. I don't know if I've ever seen more like tweet responses to like Anthony Richardson, like responses to a guy, like everyone over the weekend, like, yeah, I saw this guy play. He's going to be a major bust. Like that was like, I don't know if I've ever seen that kind of like stark divide between what we saw with the testing and like what his potential could be and the impression people were left with after watching.
I mean, his passing numbers are very similar to Trey Lance, and there are still 3 years into Trey Lance's career, still some questions about that.
So we'll see. But I mean, one of the most fascinating prospects you will ever come across. Anthony Richardson kind of stealing thunder from the guy we thought was going to be like the toolsy prospect this year, Will Levis, University of Kentucky, much longer track record than Anthony Richardson, starter each of the past 2 years, 4-year contributor. He's a lot older than Anthony Richardson. He's very toolsy, but I don't even know where I'm going with this question. What do we think of Will Levis coming out of the combine? Did he have a good combine? Or has his thunder been stolen? Has he been usurped by Anthony Richardson for teams looking to take on a project?
Well, yeah. I mean, our colleague Lawrence Jackson wrote about Will Levis that he underwhelmed at the combine. He didn't tank, and I don't think that he like played himself out of a high draft pick. He probably still will be drafted highly in the first round. But Lawrence writes this, and you can find this piece on NBCSportsEdge.com. Bryce Young remains the heavy favorite to be the first overall pick by BetMGM. CJ Stroud is second, and Richardson is third. But Levis now has the same odds as Alabama edge rusher Will Anderson. And so that means that Levis's odds to be fourth or fifth? 1, 2, 3, 4 is have dropped. So as Lawrence wrote, Levis will have a chance to leave a lasting impression on those quarterback needy teams with picks at the top of the draft. But really, it wasn't like an overwhelming performance for him. I will say that, according to playerprofiler.com, Levis's burst score was in the 87th percentile. So he is quite the athlete. I don't think that he dinged his draft stock at all. Let's put it that way.
So, I mean, would you rather draft Will Levis or Anthony Richardson? Or is the answer neither, Denny?
I think the answer is CJ Stroud. But I guess I would want to swing for the fences with Richardson. I
think I'd want to swing for the fences too. And I'm a Mizzou fan. I've unfortunately watched every Mizzou game. I think so. I've seen a lot of Will Levis. I've seen a decent amount of Anthony Richardson. By decent amount, I mean one game where he did not pass well against us at all. But I just think Will Levis had more time to like put more on the page, on film, so to speak, and just never quite saw it. And I would rather take the stratospheric upside because we cannot undersell like the combination of athleticism and size that he had. It's like almost unparalleled. I
mean, and Will Levis, his breakout age was in the kind of the middle of his 22nd year on Earth. So he was 22-year-old. The breakout isn't the best sign of a guy who's going to excel in the NFL. I think that he probably can be a long-term starter in a league starved for passable quarterbacks, and we saw this today with Derek Carr being signed, and a league trending in a direction where teams are more ready and willing to embrace hyper athletic, maybe more mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think we're going to see teams taking more and more chances. I'm sure trying to find like the next Josh Allen, which spoiler alert probably won't exist, but you can keep trying. Will Levis turns 24 in June. Anthony Richardson turns 22 in May. So enormous difference there in terms of projectability. That's like as big as it gets, actually.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.